On behalf of Business Association of Nagas and the organizing committee, I extend a warm welcome to this congregation of thought leaders and industry pioneers. We are honored by your presence and by the wealth of knowledge and experience you bring to this forum. Nagaland, nestled in the heart of northeast India, is a land of unparalleled natural beauty, rich cultural heritage, and immense potential in tourism, logistics, and transport. The theme of this conference, Empowering Nagaland India through Connectivity and Sustainable Development. This is not just a vision, but also a call to action. It is a recognition of the fact that tourism is a powerful driver of economic growth. Transport is the lifeline of trade and mobility, and logistics, as we know, is the backbone of any thriving economy. Tourism, a catalyst for economic growth. Tourism has always been one of Nagaland's strongest assets. Our vibrant festivals, breathtaking landscapes, indigenous traditions, and warm hospitality makes our state a unique and sought-after destination. Yet, despite its potential, we recognize the challenges that we face. Limited infrastructure, accessibility constraints, and the need for sustainable tourism practices. Through this conference, we aim to identify actionable solutions and collaborations that can propel Nagaland's tourism industry to new heights. Transport and logistics, the infrastructure of progress. No economy can function without an efficient transport and logistics network. In today's interconnected world, enhanced infrastructure is no longer a luxury but a necessity. With strategic location advantages, Nagaland has the opportunity to become a major hub for cross-border trade, linking Northeast India with Southeast Asia. By improving roadways, air connectivity, and logistic frameworks, we can strengthen our trade networks and create our economic opportunity that benefit local businesses and communities alike. Collaboration and innovation today is the way forward. This conference brings together policymakers, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and experts from India, Southeast Asia, to deliberate on key strategies that will shape the future of tourism, transport, and logistics in our region. Today we are honored to have the participation of esteemed dignitaries, including government representatives, financial institutions, tour operators, and infrastructure developers, all of whom are critical stakeholders in this journey. Through panel discussions, interactive workshops, and networking opportunities, over the next 2 days, we will explore sustainable tourism development models that prioritize conservation while boosting local economies, strategies to enhance transport networks and integrate smart logistics solutions, policies that support entrepreneurship, skill development, and investment in these key sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are at the threshold of transformation. The decisions we take today and the partnership we forge here at this conference will define the trajectory of Nagaland's growth in the coming decades. Let this conference be the catalyst that drive bold policies, sustainable initiatives, and dynamic investments that will make Nagaland a beacon of progress in Northeast India and beyond. As we embark on these discussions, let us keep in mind that the true success of this conference will be measured not just by the ideas exchanged, but by the actions implemented in the days to come. I once again extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for being part of this conference. Together, let us chart a path towards a stronger, more connected, and sustainably developed Nagaland. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful and encouraging conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this international conference on tourism and logistics and transport. Especially at a time like this, we are so fortunate and grateful to our friends who had come from far and near, our distinguished panelists from Japan, from Bhutan, from the various parts of the country, and also from our local entrepreneurs who are here to be sharing their experiences and to take the tourism sectors forward. The program has been so blessed with the presence of our advisor to the government of Nagaland, Industries and Commerce. I think we are so grateful that you could come here and be here with us in spite of all your tight schedule. I would like to give a warm welcome to our government officials, both from center as well as state, for making yourself available in this great conference. The making of this program was made in such a way that to attract the interest of your needs. And I'm sure, I think we should be able to take care of that, justify it, and then let you have that particular interest to be built up in the next, today and tomorrow. When I always talk about our Nagas, Nagaland, it's very important the kind of potentialities that we have. The reason why there are great people who say that the wealth of a country lies on the sweat of the people. And it's very true for a state like us, and it's very true for people for us. We should reflect on that. In spite of the fact that we have so much potentialities, you name it, we have minerals. You name it, we have the right culture. We have the right community. We have great human resources, major in abundance. But still then, why are we so poor? I think this is one area where we should really seriously ponder. And the reason is, I have some few reasons, and I just would like to share with you those reasons. And this is my personal reason. Over the last more than 100 years, 150 years, we have been taught only how to share wealth. Just only how to share wealth, and not how to create wealth. How can we share wealth when we don't create wealth? More than the last 150 years. And that's the reason why we are so much engrossed in the freebies. We just want everything free, just because it's more comfortable for us to do so. But I think today, ban has come up, and this conference has been organized for creation of wealth, to create wealth. It's time for us to talk about creation of wealth. And only then, I think we should be able to share among ourselves. Talk about this potentialities, particularly in tourism sector. That's the reason why BAN wanted to explore. BAN wanted to see to it that, we need to explore and exploit the resources that we have, because wealth unused is wealth wasted. Why don't we create that potentialities into kinetic energy? Why don't we create that potential energy into kinetic energy? And with that set in our mind, BAN had decided that we should have this conference. And you know what? To have this kind of a conferences, we need sponsors. And every now and then, whenever we have this kind of conferences, seminars, workshop, we have been working very closely with MSME. And today, even for our conference today, it's MSME who has come forward, who has sponsored this. And I think, we really thank MSME for helping us out every now and then to build our economy forward. Only when we create wealth are we being able to create that economy for ourselves. But there are some issues over here. We have a mindset, we have a mindset that the economy will grow even when we don't have the right infrastructure. And this is just a fallacy. This is just, fooling ourselves. How can our economy grow when our infrastructure is not good? This infrastructure, as an individual, you and I cannot build. As an NGO, we cannot build this. But this has to be done by the government. The government will be talking about creation of economy. But until and unless we have the right infrastructure, we will not be able to reach that target. Of course, I think government has been doing a lot, but we wanted them to do more on this sector. As far as the state sector is concerned, that is one part. But when we talk about our central sector, which has been 100% organized, managed by the central ministry, ministry like airport, ministry like railways, we have to ask them, what are you doing? We have to ask them, where is the infrastructure? We just cannot talk about economy until and unless we set these things right. You and I have to do that. Apart from this infrastructure, finances is very, very important for us. Finances is so important for any businesses to grow. That without finance, nothing will happen. We need easy access to the financial institution, isn't it? Are we experiencing that? So I think, in our 2 days program, we also have brought in financial institution like SIDBI, Small Industries Development Corporation of India. We have people brought in from NSIC, National Small Industries Development Corporation. We have State Bank. We also have representative from GEM, Government E-Marketplace. We have a very, excellent people, especially from the industry department. Especially from the technocrat side. I think who are working very hard. So in the next 2 days, I think we expect to learn so many things from them. BAN, our goal is to support collaboration. We have to create that, that entrepreneurs. And then that mutual integration, that is very, very important for us. And it seems that it has become a buzzword, particularly for creation of that. And so, starting now, I would rather urge you to ask questions, to deliberate on all the issues that has been talked about. Because you are very special. We have excellent participants. I'll tell you, once when we had announced the registration for this, in just 3 days' time, it was fully booked. So the registration was closed. I think, we had never heard like that, especially in Nagaland. So that interest that has been shown from the people, it's great. We are moving in the right direction. Please make use of the time. Okay? And so I would like to wish you all a very fruitful conference. And I hope by the time our conference finishes, the kind of praise and the kind of enthusiasm you have come here, you should still carry that with a higher level and then leave these conferences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President.
I have been the Secretary Tourism from 1998 to 2004, and it was really a learning journey for me, and I have also learned a lot during this period. But it did not end with my retirement, because I was still keeping tab of what was going on in the state, and also I was keeping in touch with some of my proteges, you can call them. They were, MTA officials who were there. And it's, though I couldn't do much, but I felt that there's a lot that we can do. And I'm very happy that BAN has associated me in this program. Now, what you saw is a glimpse of little glimpse of what is there in Nagaland. And in the next slide, I'll be explaining to you all in detail. Yeah. So, this is Nagaland's strength. Our president had mentioned about creation. Now, people may wonder, what do we create? But we have to look inward. We have tremendous strength in our community, in nature, and in our culture. And that is where I think so our tourism has to be based. It has to be a community-driven. It has to be focused on nature and on our culture. Next. Before that, yeah, community conservation areas. Now, people in Nagaland will know that we have CCA, which is called Community Conserve Area, and 88.3% of the forest belongs to the people, to the community in Nagaland, and the state government has only 11.7%. So look at the amount of things that we can do when the land belongs to the community, and we really don't need much sort of inputs from the government. We ourselves has to do what we have to do. Now Nagaland has already 407 documented CCAs, and out of which 189 of them has been notified by the government of Nagaland under the Wildlife Protection Areas Act of 1972. So we are really rich in our natural resources. It has been, most of these CCAs are being managed, controlled and monitored by the village councils of each area. So that is where we have to target our focus on. And if you look at it, next slide, Nagaland is really an unexplored destination. We really haven't gone in depth into what we have. And people also doesn't know what is the real richness, the culture and the heritage that we have in Nagaland. So we have so many of these heritages, which is the cultural diversity. We have 16 major tribes and numerous sub-tribes. And each of these tribes are not similar. We may say, okay, Nagaland is Naga and all the tribes look the same and they may be distinct for outside it may be. But to have a deeper understanding of each of these tribes, each of them is very different. They have its uniqueness, they have its language, they have its culture, they have its songs, they have its folklores. I mean, I can go on endlessly, but really it is very, very diverse. And to really understand that, you just cannot come to Nagaland for one day and say, okay, I've seen Nagaland. Then you have not seen anything. I was telling someone that Nagaland could be a year-long. Tourists can come here for 1 year and be happy about learning a lot of things. But provided we create the ambience, we create the interest, and we are able to, entice the people to see that we have a lot. Now, next, cultural diversity. An understanding of nature, of the natural world, is not only a source of great curiosity, but it's a source of fulfillment. So nature, we have abundance of it. Whether we have, our hills and, valleys and animals and biodiversity, all these things come into this thing. We just don't have just one thing. We have rhododendrons blooming in certain areas. We have a lot of wildflowers which are growing there. We also have the festivals of different flowers that we can have in various villages, where little people in different villages are trying to promote in their own way little things by having festivals. We have the chili festivals, we have the orange festivals, we have the cucumber festivals, and we have the cherry blossom festivals, but Japan would be interested in that. And these are things where people are doing something in their own way, but unfortunately these are very short-lived. And so we have to see how further we can carry this, what is the kind of activity we have to create to make these little initiatives taken by the local people to do something in their own area. So that is there. And I can say a lot of other, there are a lot of other biodiversities that are there, which is really amazing to know about it. You go to the forest, and people say that, okay, Nagaland has only one season, maybe during the dry season we can go. But I say that no, even during the monsoon you can come. Because many people have not heard about or listened to the rain, which is continuously raining for days. We get fed up of the rains because we are so used to it, but there are people who want to see the rain, who want to hear the rain. And it's very peaceful at that time. You go through Nagaland during that time, it is lush and green. Nagaland is at its best during the monsoon. Any way you go, you will find only greeneries, and you will find even the forest comes alive with all kinds of, blooming flowers, vegetables, berries. And you go to the jungle, and at night you cannot sleep because all kinds of insects are making noise. But that is the charm that we have. How many people have heard the cricket, making noise throughout the night that you can't sleep? These are the kind of, I find that this is being close to nature and trying to understand. So please do not think that Nagaland in the monsoon is going to be very boring. I call it slow destination, slow monsoon destination. You come here to relax, to listen to the rain, to see the forest, to look at the greenery and to admire. You go to the paddy fields, whether it's the jhum fields or whether it's the terrace cultivations. It's absolutely lush and green. You can be a part of that cultivation, what they do, the harvesting time. So it's very, I find it very soothing to be amongst the nature when nature at its best. That's what I feel. Now, can we go to the next slide? Well, this is biodiversity that I talked about. We have all kinds of orchids which are at different levels in the state. You have different orchids at the lower level, you have different orchids at the higher level, and we have our birds, we have our butterflies, moths. I know of tourists who came all the way to study moths. And I have gone with them to Konoma to do that. And it was quite amazing the kind of interest they take in trying to identify the variety of moths, which I thought was, I couldn't understand that interest. But that is what we have. And we also have the, different, so when we have this, we can also create trails, like the Jhum cultivation trails, forest walk, specially created tours looking at the interests of the tourists. Not just, we just take them to one place and just show them the village and come back. We have to create it. If we are going to a destination, we have to study that place. We have to understand the history, the biodiversity, the culture, the customs. So this is what is lacking among in Nagaland, is because we are not able to really create on a destination. What is that destination? What does it have? Maybe the tourists will go for just 1 or 2 days at the most, after traveling for so long, and you just show them this without any intense assessment of what they are seeing. So this is what I feel that is lacking here, and we have to do something on that, which we can talk in the coming days, in the next 2 days. Next. So another thing which we need to also partner in Nagaland is that we have conservationists and environmentalists who are really doing groundwork. And I have also personally interacted with them and I've seen the kind of work they do. So these are the people who can tell you details about your natural inheritance that you have. The forest life, the birds, the insects, all that is there, These are the real, and they are conserving the area. So when a specific area is being conserved by these environmentalists or these conservationists, we need to partner them, because that is where the community tourism come in, where we are involving the local community. And these people, these conservationists are working with the community. So that is one area where we have to line up with the conservationists and the environmentalists who are there. Next. Now Nagaland is, when you come to Nagaland, it's not going to be just sightseeing, it's going to be a learning. For the tourists who come, it's going to be a learning journey, because we are so rich in everything. Now this slide shows you different kinds of agricultural practices that is there. And if you see in the far right is the, I would call that extreme rock climbing, because you have to climb with the bees. Whether you get stung or not, that is part of their adventure. But the villagers are very expert in that. They go to harvest the honey up in the rocks. Those are the rock honey. So that could be a part of your destination to experience extreme, sports. So that is what I wanted to show you that. Then it's not only that, but we have in each district we have honey villages. So one destination could be the honey trail, or the bee, or follow the bee. These are things which we have to coin and try to understand what is there. There are people, because right now the population of the bee is dwindling all over the world, and it's becoming an environmental issue. Without bees, we'll have no food. So when we have these kind of assets, I think so we can promote them. Then we have the pineapples, and these are the cultivation in the paddy fields that is there. And in this other part is, you see that funny shape looking tree. Why I am projecting that, this is in Konoma, where this is the alder tree, which is a nitrogen fixation tree. So this tree is grown, and then they chop the firewood the branches for firewood, and then they leave it to grow again, but they never chop the entire tree. There are a lot of funny stumps and different shapes and all. But then there is a logic to what we are doing here. And this helps in the nitrogen fixation in the soil, where they cultivate the paddy and the vegetables and whatever is there. So this is also like, there are many such things all in entire Nagaland. I'm just naming a few. But these are some of the things which we are rich and which we have. Next. So Naga cuisine. So Naga cuisine is something which can be a journey. You travel through different districts, having different, dishes. And each tribe again has the peculiarity or the uniqueness in the dishes that they do. Tribal-wise, tribe-wise, we can make out that this is, okay, this belongs to the Ao, this belongs to the Lotha, this belongs to the Konyaks, they cook this way, that way. So we have a lot of these kind of, cuisine that is there. And many of our traditional cuisine are from the forest, forages from the forest, which are very, very healthy and have a lot of medicinal values. We also have the hottest chili. And I'm showing that extreme right is where in one of the destinations, they are showing you the food they prepare for the guests. And it is all, organic. They grow it in the backyard and they prepare it for the guests who come there. So this is again, one area is also the cuisine trail where you can have it, trying different cuisines and all. And so this is where we have to really curate it again. We have to work with the local people and work with them and say how best to give the best presentation, how best to serve it. So there's a lot that we can do. Yeah, next. Now, while we were doing our research on doing this, this program, we had a networking with a lot of, other organizations and, people who are doing certain things. We came to know that there are places and persons who are doing things in their own way and trying to promote them. And then so I'm showing you some of the figures. This one in the middle with the red roof is a cottage in the middle of a tea garden. Now, when we say tea garden, we are not talking about the company tea gardens, where this has become tea in the tea tourism, but this here is quite different from the big companies that we have. This is very, very rural and rustic, and it's very localized. Then we also have the accommodations, which is, I think so, some of the accommodations are really worth giving them all the credit. Then we have the kinds of camping that we have, and so just to project what we have. Then we have this thing there, Konoma Green Village, which was started in 2003, I think, 2003-04, when we had the first regional ecotourism conference in Nagaland. And some of the speakers who are now members of the RISSOI, the Responsible Tourism Society of India, they had gone there and then they sort of appreciated what the villages were trying to do in conservation. And that's how they said that we should promote it and try to give the name, and we collectively decided that let's give something distinctive to call it the Konoma Green Village. That's how the name of Konoma Green Village was also born. Now next. Now, these are the kind of activities that we can take. Generally, we are hiking, biking. When we say biking, we are mountain biking. I don't mean that noisy bike or that polluting one, but these bicycles that are there. There are places where people have started taking up this, and I am told that there are organizations who are trying to promote that. So we are trying to collect all these people who are doing things and come together to really create what we have to do. Now, I am showing you all this Kohima War Cemetery, the Battle of Kohima, which is a very historical fact, not only to Nagaland, but also to the world. And we can also think of making a trek, the route that the Allies and the Japanese they have taken. So this collaboration is also, I think so we can work out on some collaboration into trying to this, because the route they have taken, if anyone has seen the route, is very hazardous. And books have been written on how many people have died on the way. Then, so it's really very tragic to know that this kind of, the Kohima Battle of Kohima had happened in Nagaland, and it was a deciding factor for the Allies and for this thing that how the war had come to an end at that stage. So we should not forget that historical part of it, and in remembrance of that, I think so we should do something to remember the Kohima Battle of Kohima. So then next, well, some of the local tour operators and guides have spoken to me, and then I feel that in Nagaland, many of our guides and tour operators are not trained. Bhutan will speak about the intensive training that they have in the training the guides and the way that guides are registered. So before you become a guide, you have to be very, very proficient in your knowledge, to know your history, to know your background, to know your destination, to know your biodiversity, to know all this. So I think so this is where some hand-holding will be required for our tour operators and our guides if we have to really go ahead with the tourism industry in Nagaland. Okay. Next. Now, this is then, what is the kind of tourism we want in Nagaland? We need to ask ourselves. We want mass tourism, where people just come, numbers, in terms of numbers, we come, but they just go and see and come and do, and we really don't do. Or we want SIT, special interest tourism. Now, special interest tourism is a new interest which is developing all over the world. People are now fed up of that kind of tourism where you go to the beach, you go and see this, you go to the city. That has become passé. It's no longer the in thing, you can call it. So now people are looking for something that is different from the normal life. We may think that, okay, having a swimming pool in my village must be great. But you think the people who are going to come is going to go and swim in a small little pool? They have better pools. So when we talk of special interest tourists, packages can be made for these tourists, and they may not be large number. In a year, if you get even 50, 60 of these people who are going to stay in your village, in your destination, for about 10 days or 15 days, that itself is going to create the economics that you require. And if you look at the economics of this mass tourism who just come and go, and this sit tourists, you will find that the economics makes sense. More sense is there in having this kind of tourist that is there. Because when we look at our culture, when we look out at our biodiversity, when we look at our natural environment, I think so that is what we need to project, and that is what we need to create, and that is what we need to attract the people for that. And I don't know what will be the ultimate decision of it has to be community driven. It has to be driven by the people to say that this is the kind of tourism we want, because this is what we have. And we have to cash on that richness that we have. Not look at something else which is going to be very difficult to copy or emulate what somebody else is doing. But look within ourselves and see that we can do something with what we have. God has given us plenty, and we have to maximize that. So that is what I feel. Then next. So that is the end of my presentation. And what we do today is for the, what is in there? You can read what I've written there. So that is what we have to project. Now we are talking about responsible tourism. Responsible tourism comes to conserving what we have. Responsible tourism means people who will appreciate what we have, and we ourselves will be proud enough to showcase what we have. So when we do that, we are conserving our nature, we are conserving our culture, and we are conserving our heritage. So with that, and what are we conserving this for? For the future, so that the future generation can continue with that, and they will enjoy the benefits of this, what God has given us in abundance. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yes, Vijay.
My name is Ryuta Saito. I'm from the Japan Embassy. I'm in charge of Japan India Tourism Corporation. So thank you so much for giving me this great opportunity to interact with Naga people. And I would like to thank you for the organizers for this wonderful event. Thank you very much. Actually, this year is the 80th anniversary of World War II. And this year meaning has a lot of meaning between Japan and Nagaland. Because Naga people help Japanese government to collecting the remains of soldiers for so many years. So I would like to say, thank you very much, and we are very much appreciate for your support and great effort for us. Actually, Japan and Nagaland has special historical connections due to the bomb collecting. But as a Japanese government, we would like to focus on more future-oriented cooperations with your state, because like Japan and Nagaland, we are sharing so many common things like culture, cuisines, and our habit. We are really so many common things. And sorry, we have 5 minutes left. So let me briefly explain the 2 things which our Japanese government is doing the project in Nagaland. The first one is through ODA, Japanese Official Development Assistance. We are doing so many development projects, like we are creating the cancer hospital, making the forest environment, we are making some eco products. And also we are focusing on the people-to-people exchange program. As under the TITP, Technical Intern Training Program, we are receiving so many Nagaland youth to Japan for learning Japanese skill, also giving some working experience in Japan. And of course, we are facing the lack of the workforce. So we are welcoming so many Indian youth from the entire India. But Japanese company people told me, Mr. Saito, we love to welcome the Nagaland people. Because Nagaland people is the most hard work, and they are really honest. So they become the kind of the leader in Japanese company and working, So we would love to focus on this, TITP scheme, and we love to receive so many Nagaland youth to Japan as well. And actually, regarding tourism, this year we are Japan and India celebrating Japan-India Tourism Promotion and Exchange Year. And last year, almost 2.3 Indian visited to Japan, and 2.3 lakh Indian visited to Japan, and 1.4 lakh Japanese visited to India. And unfortunately, there are very limited people visit to Nagaland, maybe only few hundred people visit Nagaland. It's because we don't have enough knowledge and information about Nagaland. We know only in the Battle of Kohimers, World War II, such kind of image we have. But I really, as a Japanese government, we really love to focus on Nagaland, because you have such a beautiful cultures, natures, destinations, everything you have. And I'm pretty sure Japanese people can enjoy Nagaland, because as your people, you are really fluent in English, your hospitality is amazing, you have a really beautiful natures. So I'd love to show Japanese people in Nagaland much. And in this, I'm sorry.
One more minute.
Yeah, and actually, Madam, says a special interest tourism. See, I really agree this idea. And last time I get the help with Mr. Kejaroko, and we sent 2 Japanese famous influencers to Nagaland, and they created some tourism video about Nagaland. And they say, they really love to Japan, Nagaland, and they love to try, Nagaland cuisines, Nagaland nature. So maybe you can offer some, special arrangement for Japanese travelers or Japanese traveler groups, and maybe this special interest quiz is a great idea. I feel like I'm so sorry. I'd love to interact with you later. Thank you so much for the opportunity at the time. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Team tourism as a development is one of the important topic here for tourism. Not only in our country, Northeast, but in Nagaland. As we all know that Nagaland is very rich in history, ethnic, tribal culture, reflected through folk dances, music festivals, handicraft and custom, and the ways of each hill tribe has been a source of great tourism, not to the Indians, but people all over the world. Nagaland is a land of charm, diverse in landscape, culture, and offers opportunities for whole range of tourism activities, which to date has remained largely untapped. Though marketing and promotional measures can partly prevail over this image, but ultimately it is the visitor experience that matters the most. Publicity, promotion, marketing facilities. We would like to promote Nagaland as sustainable, community-centered tourism that celebrates the state culture and preserve its natural beauty. The Tourism Department would like to foster collaboration among various stakeholders, including government agencies, tourism industry associations, local communities, NGOs, and private sector enterprise to create a unified effort towards tourism development and management in Nagaland. The department has brought out a new tourism policy in 2024. So one of the policy in that policy is that all infrastructural developmental works related to tourism projects of any kind should be taken up in a well-planned and thought-out manner, taking into consideration the viability and sustainability of the structure in a particular environment. The department support the community enterprises, homestays, and community-led tour operations. Hotels are important vital segment of the tourism infrastructure. The department provides training program and capacity building initiative to enhance the skills and knowledge of tourism industry professionals, local communities, and service providers. Tourism is a multi-sector activity. It involves the local communities, the government, the policymakers, who come in touch with tourists in various ways. Visitor first impression of a place is very much based on at the facilities available in its airport, railway, and bus station. Here, if we want to promote tourism, the connectivity should be there. But now the state government is focusing more on road sector, so many tourist hotspots are well connected with roads, so the state and or a department can establish infrastructure wherever there is possible tourist influx in that area. Now, I would like to highlight that one of the problems for tourists coming to the state is the restricted area permit. That is especially for the foreign tourists. Nagaland is one of the peaceful country and for a safety of women. If the government of India relaxes that restricted area permit, many investors will come and many tourists will also come, which will help boost our local economy also. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pangi, and good morning to everyone. I'll try, give me 6 minutes, please. During the panel discussion, I'll try to not talk too much. Thank you to President Ban, Mr. Monkan Jameer, the entire team, Zubeno, Inoto, Ben, everyone. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's important and it's crucial that this type of discourse and deliberation takes place. Many a times, we as people, we like to talk within the four walls, but we miss this important discussion. So I'm really, really happy to be part of this, and especially my esteemed panel speakers. Happy to be sharing this panel with you, and I'm hoping that something very impactful will come out of this two-day session. Both the President and Madam Thangi has beautifully put in context what we're going to be discussing the next 2 days. So I'll really not be getting into what Madam has mentioned, but I will try to pick up some points which our President has mentioned. But before I get into that, I want to thank everyone who's here, because we are on part of the government, and everyone, we are serious about the growth of the economy of the state, and all of you sitting here are contributing to the economy of the state in whatever way you are doing it. So I really want to thank all of you here. You are very, very important stakeholders in continuing this journey to make Nagaland's economy more robust. It's interesting because we are almost 1 hour into the program and we're talking tourism, and nobody's talked about Hornbill Festival. But I want to start with Hornbill Festival. Because that's a good model that has come out. Some may dislike Hornbill Festival, some may love Hornbill Festival. I love Hornbill Festival. I don't drink, but I enjoy the 10 days of Hornbill Festival. So that's up to you to interpret whichever way you want to. But when you look at the economy, because I want to touch a little bit about, many a times, you all know I have been this side of the fence throughout my life, and only the past 2 years I've come this side of the fence, of the government side. So I'm really also trying to understand, because when I was on the other side, like many of us talk, it's always the government that is at fault. We like to blame the government for each and everything that happens, that is going wrong in the state. It's the government's fault. And I've also been very vocal about that in the past, but now coming this side, then I see it's a different world altogether. And I want that these 2 days of discussion would be not just the government bashing discussion, but we also need to understand the challenges and reality. So I'll be dropping some few numbers for all of you, which considering this is not just a group of people just to fill up the room coming in, but these are serious people who are going to be working for the future. When we look at the tourism industry, I want to go back to the Hornbill Festival. Some study had been conducted last year by Science College, Jotsoma, and in 2000, which our secretary will also help me with numbers if I'm wrong, but about in 2023, the Hornbill Festival, about 6.5 CR was spent. The government had invested about 6.5 CR, and the study shows that about 109 CR was generated. Revenue was generated, about 109 crores were generated for 6.5 crore investment. Now, last year was the 25th edition, and there was a lot of hue and cry about why is the government spending 100 CR. Now everything, when we're talking of government, like President mentioned, is about infrastructure. So everybody knows Nagaland because of not everybody, but the global, if people know about Nagaland, it's because of the Hornbill Festival. So let us look at the good side of Hornbill Festival and try to build that up for the other tourism areas as well. Ma'am, you have to give me 2 more minutes because I've not even got into the... and so when you look at that, industry department, we made a handloom and handicraft pavilion for 15 CR. In 4 months, we made infrastructure, because this is the role of the government. Government cannot do business, but we have to, like President said, we have to make infrastructure for the people. So for this 15 crore investment, we made, there was a business that was done for about 3 crore and 13 lakhs, plus some changes, in 10 days. And that revenue is not the government's revenue, but that is what we are creating for the people. The entrepreneurs who are selling it, the artisans who have made it, and this is what I think the government is trying to do. I do agree that for tourism to expand, for us to explore tourism, it's important. Government plays a very, very crucial role. Infrastructure has to be in place. Now I want to take you to our budget, which is very important, not just for tourism, but for economy in general. When we look at our budget 2024, last year's budget, we see that 23,127 was the state's budget. That is the total expenditure. When we break it down, we see that revenue expenditure, which is the expenditure spent on salaries, pension, etc., 16,893 crore. 16,893 crore. And for debt servicing, the loans that the government take, for those debt servicing, it was 4,243 crore. For power purchase, it's about 600 crore. And now power is another important sector, because industry cannot move even an inch if your power sector is not in place. But our AT&T loss is about almost 60%. So again, it comes back to us, the public. Are we also doing our duties and responsibilities the way we should be doing? So at the end, we are left with only about 10% to do development work. We have only about 2,591 CR to do the development work, to put up the infrastructure, to put up the road, electricity, whatever. And this is the struggle the government is going through. It is important if you look at the revenue of, I'm really sorry, please, you have to, I'm not going to speak in the panel, I mean the later questions I'm not going to answer, but this one is important, these numbers are important. When we look at the revenue of the different states, I want to just mention 2 states. I want to compare ourselves with Assam, because of course we are really different, but state's revenue, Assam's state revenue, which they generate, that is non-taxable revenue, is 34,149 crore. In comparison, Nagaland's revenue is 1,787. And our own, the taxed ones are, Assam has 8,871 crore, whereas Nagaland, ours is only 464 crore. So when we really look, it's like the thing of chicken and egg, which comes first, the chicken or the egg. So likewise, is the government to be blamed or are the people to be blamed, So these are the struggle that we are also, as a newbie to the government, we are also struggling on our own. The government cannot do much on our own. I'm sure under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, the 60 of us, because it's an oppositionless government, we are all trying our best to make sure that we are doing the right thing for the people. But it's a collaborative effort. Both, we have to stop this blame game. We are blaming the government, and the government is blaming the people. But as long as we come together through platforms and through initiatives like BAM, I'm sure I can see a positive, there's a positive headway, and I'm really, really happy to be part of this conversation. And I want to be part of not just this conversation, but also to take whatever the outcome and see in whatever way, in my own capacity as Advisor of Industries and Commerce, and also on behalf of the government, we are always there to support and to work together as partners. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me here. So I'd like to first introduce my company. I represent APJ Surendra Park Hotels Limited, one of India's oldest hospitality companies, having set up their first hotel That's the Park Hotel in Calcutta in 1967. We also operate a very iconic confectionery brand called Flurries. Why I'm talking about Flurries is when I meet people across the country, not just in Nagaland, one thing people talk about is the Park Hotel and especially Flurries, going and having breakfast, eating chocolates, eating the brownies at Flurries. That's what we do. Now, we are owners and operators of hotels, so we would like to thank the ownership of this hotel to give us an opportunity to manage the hotel. So coming to the point, why and how do we promote tourism in this region? Nagaland, as per my understanding and my relationship to the state, goes more than 50 years, even before I was born. I'll come to that part, how. So Nagaland is a place which is, like ma'am said, has got plenty to offer people. It's got nature, it's got very warm people, it has got the culinary experiences which you can create, there are trails which are available. And the people here are very smart. I've just come from Kolkata, where we have a lot of young staff from team members from Nagaland, from Kohima, from Dimapur, working there. So every time I go to any destination and ask the team, where are you from? So a lot of time I get an answer, Nagaland. So I say, where in Nagaland? So they'll say Dimapur. Where in Dimapur? They'll give me a specific. When I'm asking this, people are looking at my face. Why is this guy asking so much? Then I tell them we run a hotel there. I've been going there. People are surprised. So that's an opportunity for people to come back. Why work outside? So if we create infrastructure there, people are happy to come and work here back in Nagaland. That's one. I've been coming to the state personally since 2019 when we started working on this project with the owners. And every time I have come, I have seen development happening in the state. Be it at the airport, whatever work has happened, be it on the highways, be it the access to Kohima. So there is a lot of work happening. So rather than saying government bashing, I would say there is a lot of good work which has happened. And now, if we look at the central budget which has been presented to promote tourism, is a positive step in that segment. How we can help people grow tourism is we are happy to partner with people who want to set up hotels, who want to set up resorts. We can come, help, operate and manage them. We can help in skill development of the guides we were talking about for Hornbill or be it other people. We as a company also run a hotel management institute, so we can partner. We have a hotel here, we have resources where we can partner and upskill people. When we upskill people, we also see when the growth of tourism happens, you might have a reverse brain drain, as people would say, people from outside wanting to come back, Nagas who are working outside wanting to come back home and work. So that is what we can do. Another thing which comes by is everyone talks about infrastructure. Now invariably infrastructure and development goes hand in hand. What is I think missing today is marketing the state of Nagaland. A lot of time people ask, oh, first question, do I need a passport? How will I work on the inner line permit? So these are things, and that is one area I think where a push from the government is required. Taking an example, if I have, last week I was at one of South Asia's largest travel mart called the OTM in Mumbai. Most of the states had very, very large stalls. More than anything else, it's visibility, it is education. Someone spoke about Assam. Assam had a stall. Punjab had a stall. Rajasthan had a stall. Goa had a stall. And large presence. That is something which educates and showcases people about what the state has to offer. It's a brilliant place, very warm and hospitable people. Lots to offer in terms of handicraft, lots to offer in terms of home style remedies. I remember there is one thing, every time I come here, I am given, told by people I know to carry back, there is a package, health package which is which has got turmeric, which has got a couple of other herbs which make in Nagaland, packages themselves. Those things are something which could be carried across there. So we are there as far as the company long term to support the growth of Nagaland. As we said, we are happy to partner with people. We are happy to work with the government to provide soft skills, to train people who are there as part of the Hornbill Festival or anywhere else they find us relevant. So Happy to be here and happy to partner in the growth of Nagaland. Thank you. And just the last point which I said, my association with the state goes to more than 50 years. My father used to work here. He was here in the 72, 73, part of the border roads, had built a few bridges, roads close to Makokchung. Last year, I got him when we signed the hotel in 2019, he used to tell me, I want to go there, I want to go to those places and see where it was. I got him here in April. Thanks to him, I saw the part of Nagaland which I didn't see. And I would want other people also to come back and experience the wonders of Nagaland. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to give you advice on promotion of tourism. I'm here to point out issues about responsible tourism. And the best way to do it is to showcase what is irresponsible tourism. Fortunately, after this, I have a presentation where I'll showcase some pictures. But in the meantime, let me quickly delve into a few areas of irresponsibility. And my time starts now. The first thing, the biggest problem, so it's not just about pinpointing problems, it's also about finding solutions. And whereas I'm going to list out the pitfalls, I will also say that, not that in this session I would have the time to go into them, but I will at a later stage. One of the biggest problems in our country is the unorganized sector, which needs to be harnessed, which needs to be certified, which needs to be brought under control. And that involves inspection, it involves, a protocol of punishment and reward and things like that, workshops, training, skill building, and so on. The second biggest problem in our country is the irresponsible traveler. Ladies and gentlemen, believe you me, more dangerous than the service provider is the traveler in our country. And with the boom in domestic tourism, this is becoming a big menace. So much so that global tourists are being discouraged from coming to our destinations. They will just open the window and throw any garbage anywhere. They will do what they like anywhere, and things like that. I don't need to go into that in much detail. But the way to change that is to, number one, start with school education, which will go later into a greater thing. And we need to sort of have a code of conduct for travelers, which needs to be enforced. The third biggest problem is the plastic menace. I do not shy away from saying that the hotel industry and the tourism industry is a large producer of the carbon footprint and a large producer of affluents and garbage. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, we can bring about changes by changing our service designs in the hotel industry and by enforcing certain rules as far as plastics are concerned. The next thing is over-tourism. Too many tourists. We need to have carrying capacity studies, and we need to look at building alternate destinations. I did talk about capacity building, conducting workshops and so on, but there is something known as the Sustainable Tourism Criteria of India, which was adopted by the Ministry of Tourism in the year 2010. What we need to do is to implement that in the state. Next, one of the major problems of domestic tourism or tourism is road safety. We need to have safe roads, and the biggest menace on our highways, and I really don't know whether it's true in Nagaland, but in many parts of the country, can you imagine we have liquor vans on the roads where drivers can stop and have a drink and proceed? I think that's the most dangerous thing to do. It doesn't happen anywhere, and I have made a proposal to the government to completely ban liquor vans on the road, on the highways. So as I said, the imposition of best practices, to be enforced, having strict laws and a code of conduct, which is supplemented by monitoring and by fines, having list of do's and don'ts at monuments and places of tourist interest, where the customer knows that if he does this, he's got to pay something. And we can have a system of wardens who are empowered to do this. We can enforce best practices, like, I'll give you an example. In trekking areas in Ladakh, which I experienced, people go on treks, and after the trekking season is over, the trekking companies are asked to go and clean the trails. Now, that is something that has become mandatory for them. Taxi drivers have to carry small garbage bags, small bags in their taxis, so that if somebody is eating a packet of chips, he doesn't throw it on the road. People are discouraged from bringing plastic bottles into monuments. For example, if I'm carrying a plastic bottle, water bottle, the gate will ask me to deposit, let's say 50 rupees. I can take the bottle in, and I'll only get it back if I show that I'm taking the bottle back out. So these are some practices which can be imposed and which can prevent the menace of... we talk a lot about film tourism and weddings. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand that weddings produce huge amounts of garbage, huge amounts of plastics and waste. So unless and until there is a code of conduct, there is some kind of monitoring, there is some kind of system that is brought. So these are the pitfalls, there are solutions which we can discuss later. And when I have the fortunate privilege of having a presentation after this, but I'll show you some pictures. But one of the ways that I have proposed to every state government is to have an empowered eco-tourism board. Now, whereas the Ministry of Tourism in every state, is busy in formulating policy, in making guidelines, they do not have the resources and the wherewithal to implement. Now, if you want to implement all these ideas, my suggestion is have an ecotourism board, which has got a set of guidelines, which goes into these codes of conduct, and which is responsible and accountable for implementing all these policies. Thank you very much.
Distinguished guests, President Ben and his colleagues, and my dear friends who are here today. Some 25 years ago, Madam Tangi came to our village and he sowed some seeds. And today the fruits are bearing. And when she came to our village, and she was sharing the gospel of tourism, and our village became the first green village of India. And when we became the first green village of India, it gave birth to a new breed of entrepreneurs. So we have today 2 operators, tour guides, homestay owners, and many other people, depending on tourism for their livelihood. So I want to say thank you, ma'am. And also, as a tourism stakeholder, I want to thank Ben for organizing this program. And because we believe that tourism is something which our people can really do well. So on behalf of all the tourism stakeholders, I want to say a very big thank you to Ben. I myself a member of Ben, not able to contribute in any way, though very happy to be here. So I want to highlight some key issues that we as tourism stakeholders working the ground, experiences, faces, sometimes challenging opportunities. There are many things that I want to share, but with the time limit, I will be going straight to the points. So basically, if you look at the scenario of tourism in Northeast India, Arunachal, Meghalaya, and Assam, these three states are taking away the most number of tourists. If you look at the statistics in Kaziranga alone, last year from October to December, I came across a figure. It's about 164,000, and a lot of hotels, resorts, so many properties are there. They have about 600 to 700 gypsies for jungle safaris. Elephants are there. So a lot of people, families, thousands of families are depending on tourism. They don't do throughout the year because of the flood, but from from October to April during the dry season, a lot of things are happening. So if we look at the scenario, Kaziranga, Meghalaya, and Arunachal, west side of Arunachal, most of the tourists are going there. And Kaziranga is just 3 hours drive from Dimapur, 5 hours drive from Kohima. So I think there's a missing link. I think we have to connect these dots, is what I feel. And we as stakeholders, we get the opportunity to travel to the different corners of Nagaland. And many a times we feel very sad, how tourism has happened over the past years. And I respectfully agree with what our president has said this morning. Things are not in place, so it will take some time, but we believe that government is also trying their best. And 2-3 things which I would like to highlight here in this space is recently the government of Nagaland, under the initiative of the Investment Development Authority of Nagaland, has given out 80 cars, 80 vehicles. So many of us, I'm sure, are beneficiaries of this scheme. They call it the Nagaland Tourism Connect scheme. So many of us are beneficiaries of this scheme, and I'm very happy that the government has given such a big boost to the transport sector. So this is a very good thing, and I think we all appreciate this, and we still want more. Is what we want to tell to our government, and also the homestays. Homestay is one area where I think it will really help the local entrepreneurs in the rural areas. Nagaland, as we know, is not a 5-star destination. We are yet to become a 5-star destination. We have probably very soon we may be getting 5-star properties. But in the nook and corners, in the far-flung areas, the homestays will be the best mode of accommodation. Because we know in tourism and hospitality, there are 3 key elements: amenities, accessibility, and attractions. Without these 3, there cannot be a destination. So when we go to the nook and corners, we come across tourism buildings, infrastructures built in the wrong places, wayside amenities, where tourists will never go. So I think over the past years, we have dumped a lot of money. So this is something which we really, really feel sad as stakeholders. I would like to mention one village in the far eastern side of Nagaland. There's a village called Peshu. And if you go there, there are still a lot of houses built with slate roofs, stone roofs. So this kind of unique places where we can drive, we can take a lot of people to go and experience. So there are a lot of opportunities, potentials are there, but I think we will have to wait for the good time. And we have so many things that we can do, but we can't do everything. But if we have to look for a model, just last 10 seconds. I think we have our Bhutanese friends here. Bhutan is not very far from us. We have a lot to learn from Bhutan. So Bhutan is a very good destination where we can learn a lot. I think we should all visit Bhutan once. Thank you once again, man.
Thank you. Generally, guides don't use mic. We talk loud. Otherwise, you are not a guide. You are not fit to be a guide. That's what we normally say. And when we, it's about the role of the guide in Bhutan. And what in Bhutan, guides are compulsory, it's a must. In fact, we have been fighting for that only because we have almost now around 4,000 guides who are, most of them have now become freelance guide from being a permanent tour guides. So because of that, we need to actually engage them, in a better way so that, the employability rate is high and also they make enough to meet both ends. So those things are being done. So when I was asked to actually, I did actually hear on the TV the Martin Man. Is it there? Right. But another do slides here so that I can just see and talk just on a few points only. Otherwise, it's difficult to see from here. Okay. Yeah, take it. Okay. Again. Next. Yeah. So here I was asked to talk about the indispensable role of tour guides in Bhutan, how important tour guides are in Bhutan. You know, the tourist actually sees through the eyes of a guide. And also if you look at the survey done by the Department of Tourism, 70% of the tourists have said that when they were asked about how they came to know Bhutan, they said it's word of mouth. So when you talk about word of mouth, you know, it's the guide. You know, that the guides have played such a big role in promoting Bhutan through guests that visited Bhutan. And then they went happy back. And you know, they also, the people who have visited Bhutan will have definitely out of 10, if you choose, at least 5 to 6 of them will be able to afford the tour to Bhutan. So because of that also, you know, we do have actually guests, you know, who are mostly high-end. You know, very rarely we would have students from, you know, college or any institute, or maybe young, but majority of the tourists that visit Bhutan is 56 years and above. So that also actually, you know, and then for that, you know, if you don't have a seasoned guide, you know, it's a problem. So because of that also, we actually make a lot of emphasis on giving proper training. One, you know, I'm going a little bit off track, but I think I should because the question was already made on this. So if somebody wants to become a guide in Bhutan, the foremost important thing is that he needs a police clearance for NOC, no certificate, medical certificate, because he or she also needs to be paid. And then he or she should have, you know, minimum qualification of secondary high school. Now we are trying to actually take it up to degree. And then, you know, then we have interview, and even in the interview, they can, you know, they may not get through. And then the course is for 4 months. Very, very rigorous, intensive. If you really look at that course, it may take even a year if you have to teach them, you know, professionally. So certain things, you know, we really, you know, we don't do it because it's somehow the other feel that they can learn on their own also. So anything that they can learn on their own, we, you know, just touch it. Otherwise, things that is required for a guide to work professionally, those we actually, you know, train them, you know, rigorously. One is definitely, you know, first aid, they need to do that. And then even code of conduct, then even our cultural etiquette, you know, that the Buddhists will have as a guide. You are always, you know, national days, 24/7 actually, even in the middle of the night, you know, if you are there with the guests. Generally, the one thing we allow maybe is that if they are in the wild, you know, in track, you don't have to wear. Other than that, if you're doing a cultural tour, then you need to wear all the time. So because of that, then another thing is that we also have upskilling training, and then we have a regular refresher course. Next, I think I leave this, you know, you can see a garden of happiness and sustainable future. Bhutan actually promotes, you know, if you look at the area, oh my gosh, what? Okay, well, I'll go to the next. I think I can leave these, you know. Yeah, okay, yeah. And then, you know, we protect our environment to a point where it is there even in the constitution, which says that 60% of the forest coverage will remain for eternity. At the moment, we have around 72% plus. And then, you know, if you talk about GNH, you know, gross national happiness, we actually, you know, the king of Bhutan, the father of the present king, said that he would want his people to be more happier than richer. You know, because, you know, now happiness, if you really look at, it is, you know, it can come only through contentment. You have to be content, satisfied with what you have. So, and then for that you have to practice. You know, practice makes the man perfect. So, you know, and then guides needs to be really good. So that was a philosophy that was adopted, and not adopted since 2000, but we had this goal for last almost now. I think 76 was the first time when King delivered speech, almost 49 years ago when he was interviewed. He said that this is what he wants his country to be. Okay, next. I think okay. Ambassador, this, I don't have to talk much about, you know, how important guides are to represent your country in, you know, especially culturally, that one is dress, etiquette, manner you accept, the way you handle your guests, and then, and then we do actually, especially in Bhutan, if you look at a lot of the products are living, we are not making it for tourists, it's there. So the guide knows which places to take. A lot of the time, if you look at the itinerary, you won't know it, what to expect. So the guides in turn, who are really, because of the training, that they know where to take it, how to, give them an authentic. We normally use authentic, but I use this word living because it is there. It's a part and parcel of a Bhutanese life, and then we are not making it for tourists. It's there. Anytime you go there, it's there. They will do the same thing to anybody. So next. So I don't have to talk about this. We have already talked. Definitely, sustainability is again, on the top of the agenda for the guides. Even on the track, we don't actually cut the trees and like that. We actually, as far as possible, we don't make bonfires in those. In fact, it is restricted by the Department of Tourism. It's not allowed. But some local areas where we have locals and nomads, so sometimes they do that, and it's really cold, and also that the locals would come to entertain guests. So that time they may. Other than that, on the tour, even one of the most toughest track in the world called Snowman Track, there it goes on for 29 days. Even there, even on that track, we don't use any of the fire, despite the fact most of the time you will be actually walking at 4,000 meter plus. Okay, next. What's there now? Okay. So authentic encounter, I've already said that, that almost everything that we have in Bhutan is authentic, including homestays. Homestays, we have a little bit, I visited, Sri Lanka, and then Thailand, then Maldives. A lot of the products that they have there are not genuine. It is just for the tourists. Whereas in Bhutan, if you visit, if we promote that, it is authentic, it is living, it is part and parcel of a Buddhist life. We don't, in fact, even the foods that we provide to tourists, we provide almost same kind of food that the locals would eat, and maybe add one item, so that if they are not, because I also tell a lot of the times to guides and others, even to villagers, that they are not going to die, if they don't eat lunch or dinner, generally dinner, and then breakfast we make it back. So what the tourists want is authentic experience, and and then even the people, maybe even in Nagaland, if you do a survey, maybe 30 to 40% of the tourists who visits Nagaland would want to meet people. When we talk about this to some of our friends in the government, they laugh. Why? What is there in the Buddhist people? I say you're talking from, as a Buddhist. You look at from the tourists that are visiting Bhutan. They have never seen us. So definitely they want to know our culture, our experience. What kind of a livelihood we have, how we were actually, long time back, and how we, so those things because of that. Okay, next. Okay, this is it. So, I think I'll not touch this. Let's go now. I don't have time. Next. Yeah. A preserver of identity, safeguarding Bhutan's culture, history. And then one of the most important tourism products is we as a Bhutanese. Who we are, what kind of people we are. If you look at actually hospitality, it is there in the Buddhist life. We actually give the best room. If you have a guest, the best meal. Sometimes you would have just a strip of pork hanging there, which has been there sometimes for 3-4 months, or dried beef. They don't need it. They keep it, thinking that one fine day somebody may knock at the door so that you treat them royally. But now this has changed because of modernization like that. You can get it. Still, they will provide the best possible meal to tourists. And then definitely authentic experience. Like if you go to a central town, we have a buckwheat and bucket noodles and pancakes. Those are considered delicacies, and also that is rich in nutrients and others. So, one of the meals that generally. Thank you.